Good evening. Welcome to the March 21st Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Teresa, if you call the roll.
Councilwoman Flood. Here. Councilwoman Stander.
Here.
Councilman Morelli.
Here.
Councilwoman Wallowitz. Here. Supervisor Barron.
Here, entertain a motion to approve town board meeting minutes of March 7th.
Second.
Any discussion?
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Stander.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Barron.
Yes, just a couple of quick announcements and reminders. One is many people remain concerned, obviously, about the COVID situation. A lot of the restrictions have been lifted, but news of new variants has re-energized some concern for people in general. With that being the case, and following precedent over the last couple of years, in a program I think that's worked very well, we've instituted a new program that would allow a quick and easy process for restaurants to set up additional outdoor seating. So I think we should look to do that again in 22. We have, as I said, we have some precedent there over the last couple of years. So we should use those resolutions as a guide and consider, helping our restaurants cope with some of the hurdles that they'll continue to face when trying to operate and attract patrons to their business, and so they can offer as safe an experience for everybody as possible. So just want to bring that up as a future discussion point as we get into the spring here. Secondly, we have a resolution on tonight regarding a new program that we've initiated with the town. It's a new partnership with a company called Apparel Impact. In simple terms, the new partnership allows an opportunity for the reuse or recycling of clothing, footwear, purses, bags, ties, scarves, hats, coats, winter gear, sheets and towels, things we use every day, things we probably dispose of on a regular basis. Well, now you can do that, and they reuse what can be reused and recycle the rest. The other good part about this program is the town will receive 5 cents a pound on what is donated. The donations can be made down at the transfer station. There's just a few small, fairly small, I would say, containers. You don't need a transfer station permit to donate items. Just let the person at the guard shack know that you're there to donate to the Apparel Impact program, and they'll point you in the right direction. So the resolution that's on the agenda tonight would direct the funds. At this point, we don't know how much that'll be, but would be to direct the funds to our Community Action Fund, which supports, has supported over the last few years dozens of nonprofits in town. It would be a nice boost to that program. Currently, all of the revenue for the program comes from your donations of redeemable bottles and cans at the transfer station. in the recycling area where you drop off your plastics, your paper, metal, appliances, that section of the transfer station, we have a drop-off point for donations of bottles and cans. So we've been able to donate over $40,000 to nonprofits just in the last few years through your donations of bottles and cans. So the program has been a great success. If we divert these funds to, from the Apparel Impact Partnership to the program, it will add some additional revenue. We'll be able to help more folks. Bulk waste pickups coming up. Starts May 2nd. The town will be split into 3 different sections. If you're not sure what section you're in, if you can head over to the website, we have a map up there. We'll show you exactly where the boundaries are for week 1, 2, and 3. Each section of the town will have their individual week. We want you to put your items out on the Sunday before your week begins. So section 1 is generally up in the northern part of town, as it usually is. So people in that area would put their items out May 1st, and they'd be picked up during the week of the 2nd. Then section 2 of the town would have the following week, and then section 3 would have the 3rd week. So again, for all the details of the program on what we can accept and what we can't, we also have that information on the website as well. So please check it out. If you have any questions, you can contact us here at Town Hall. Looking at Shredding Day, we have Shredding Day twice a year. You can bring your sensitive documents that you'd like to have disposed of professionally and safely. Twice a year, we have it at the Clifton Park Center Mall. All we ask in return for the service is a donation for the Jonesville Food Pantry. Again, the generosity of the people that have received the service has been tremendous. We've been doing this for many, many years in partnership with 3N Document Destruction. So we're tentatively, they do have May 1st open. We always do 1 to 3 at the Clifton Park Center. So I asked them to pencil that in. We always do it around that date. In the spring, we offer the service again in the fall. And then just one other thing about the nonprofit grant program. Everybody has had the applications. We have $200,000 available for our nonprofits through this program. The county we're replicating the program at the county for $2 million. In both instances, as you might expect, the applications have far exceeded the amount of money that's been allocated. One thing before we start deliberating on the awards from the program, if there's any questions that any of you have about the applications or the applicant themselves, if you could let Jean know, we can make those inquiries and then share that information with everybody involved. So if there are any questions, please get those questions in if you could, and we should begin deliberating on the grant program in the very near future. But first, we'll see if anybody has any questions about or requires more information of the applicant. Any other communications or announcements? We have a fundraiser coming up. Yep.
So 1:30 on Sunday from 1:30 to 4, Councilman Morelli and myself have been planning this fundraiser for the Ukraine. We've kind of modeled it after Miss Yuna. We talked to the people that did theirs, and we talked to the people that just did Shen's. So we're going to have the drive where people can pull up and donate supplies or cash or check. They also do Venmo. but they're in great need for medical supplies, Band-Aids, bandages, wraps, any kind of Benadryl, Neosporin. There's a whole list that we have out there posted. No donation is too small. They'll take absolutely anything and appreciate it. We're partnering with St. Nicholas's Church in Waterloo, and we're going to have Tim Smith's Barbecue Shack. He's coming, Smokehouse. So he's going to donate some of the proceeds. We're working on a kettle corn truck possibly. And the people from the church are going to be selling these pins and some flags and t-shirts. These pins you can order ahead if you would like to Venmo at Kathy-Weber-29. She's part of our community as well. Her kids go to Shen. But these pins that I'm wearing, you can donate $5 and order ahead if you'd like to. But they will have them on Sunday as well. Anything else, Mr. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I would just echo what you said, Councilwoman Flood. I'm excited about this. It's a great opportunity for us as a town, as residents, as a board to support what's been going on in the world. I don't think anyone watches what's going on in the news and doesn't want to help in some way, shape, or form. So this is an opportunity for our residents in this community and surrounding communities to do that. I think through this last week, we've kind of established a partnership with, as you mentioned, St. Nicholas Ukrainian Catholic Church, and 520 Ukrainians who are online on social media. So if you have family or friends or a business or kids that want to somehow get involved outside of what we're doing on Sunday, please, go to their websites, go to their social media sites. They're constantly looking for help and support, whether it be financial or just taping up boxes. I think tonight they were looking for people to load up a truck to ship overseas. So, and that includes kids and groups of scouts and anything else. So I'm just excited to be partnering with you and to see this through fruition on Sunday.
Very good, thank you. Look forward to a successful event and look forward to seeing a lot of Clifton Park residents participate. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes.
The supervisor had mentioned that this year we are doing our bulk waste pickup, and this is always a great reminder that when you're planning for to put your items out for bulk waste pickup, if you have anything that might be able to be reused, hold on to it. The town of Clifton Park partners with Habitat for Humanity, and we have a container down at our transfer station where we collect for old furniture or gently used furniture, building materials and supplies, glasses, dishware, anything that can be sold in the Habitat for Humanity restore and used again by folks who are in need. The profits that are generated from these donations go to build homes in the area. So think of that as you're putting your bulk waste items out to the curb. If there's anything that can be used, please consider donating it to Habitat for Humanity. If you have sizable items, they will actually come to your home and pick things up. The information is on our website. So if you have any questions about if something is good enough to donate, you can take a picture and send it to them and they'll be able to communicate with you. So it's a really good partnership if you have any questions. My second announcement is our Green Committee's annual clean sweep is coming up on April 23rd from 9 to 12. And we are now in the process of registering volunteers to come help us clean up our parks, our trails, our roadways, and our preserves. So if you're a family, an individual, a business, a community group who's interested in cleaning up some of the open spaces throughout town, please go to our website at cliftonpark.org and you can sign up to clean one of our spaces. We have a team of folks that will get in touch with you after you register and will help you decide what's the best location for you. So, thank you.
Very good. And that Habitat for Humanity restore pickup option is very convenient. It is free. I've used it myself with some gently used furniture. They wanted the furniture and were willing to come get it. So it's a nice way to help Habitat and also maybe get rid of something that you no longer want, right? So, all right. We'll move forward with the agenda. We do have a public hearing this evening regarding dog license fees. I'll ask Teresa to read the legal notice as it appeared in the Gazette.
Town of Clifton Park, County of Saratoga, State of New York, notice of public hearing to solicit public input regarding amending dog license fees. Please take notice that the town board of the town of Clifton Park will conduct a public hearing on March 21st, 2022 at 7:05 p.m. in the Wood Memorial Meeting Room in the town office building located at 1 Town Hall Plaza, Town of Clifton Park, County of Saratoga, State of New York, to solicit public input on a proposal to amend Town Code Chapter 92 to increase dog license fees. Copies of the proposal local law are posted at the cliftonpark.org Government Legal Notices Board and are available for review in the town clerk's office during normal business hours. And that was in the Gazette on March 9th.
Very good. We'll open the public hearing. I'll ask our animal control officer, Terry, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Can you talk about this proposal a little bit, please?
Apparently this hasn't been, the license has not been raised since 1945. And with the increase of postage, which is what I believe 58 cents, we need to catch up a little bit. At this point, we are basically, when people do the right thing and license their dog, it's costing the town money. Not a lot, but this way, we're going to raise it. It's going to go up to $6. $1 of that goes to the New York State Population Fund, which is mandatory throughout the New York State. So the town will get the $5, and that'll help offset postage and the cost of the tag and various other little things that add up.
Try to make it as easy and as inexpensive as possible for people to register their dogs. And I think keep holding the line on that cost for the last 50 years or so is one way to do it. Or maybe 75 years. All right. Any other comments from the board at this time? All right, we'll open it up for discussion. If you would like to speak on this matter regarding the increase in the dog license fees, I'll ask you to raise your hand. Please state your name and address for the record. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this matter? Okay. Any final comments from the board? Terry, anything else?
Nope, just as licensing your dog is a New York State law. It is required by the state. Every dog must be licensed in the town that it lives in. That along with the current rabies.
Very good. Lou, anything on this?
Okay.
All right, good. All right, with that, we'll close the public hearing and move on. We have a presentation by our tree committee this evening.
We do, thank you. Our tree committee has some very exciting news. For the past year and a half or so, we have been diligently working on earning Arbor Day Foundation's Tree City USA designation. And I'm proud to announce that we have completed all the tasks necessary for that designation. So the town of Clifton Park is now a Tree City USA designated town. So efforts put into getting this designation. As I said, it needed to be earned. There was a lot of work that our tree committee had to do in order to receive this designation, as well as our town. For instance, one of the things is the town board. We had an official observance of Arbor Day. We established our green committee, which was a second qualification that we needed to meet. One of the other things was we needed to spend $2 per capita annually towards planting, care, and removal of diseased trees. We surpassed that. The amount of care that our buildings and grounds folks and our highway department put into caring for trees and trying to avoid cutting down trees and learning about them is really phenomenal. So we were able to compile all that information and realize that we did qualify with that spending on tree care. And then the final qualification that we met was passing a tree ordinance, which dedicates, the town board had dedicated ourselves to preserving and protecting and enhancing the town's natural environment through tree protection and sustainable tree planting. So we have a lot of work to do from this point on. We're not done. This is something that we have to keep up with, and we've got a lot of work to do, but we have a fantastic committee, and some of them are here, and I would like to invite them up because we have some very exciting things that we'd like to reveal and show. So we've got Lori and Diana, Elisa, and Joanne. So please come on up. It's okay. So in addition to this wonderful plaque that we have that we get to hang somewhere prominent, the Arbor Day Foundation has awarded the town of Clifton Park with some road signs. Drum roll, please, ladies. There we go. Yeah. So hopefully the board can see it as well. So we have 2 of these road signs. Yeah, we have 2. And what we will be doing is coordinating with the highway department to have these signs installed at key locations in town so that everyone who comes to Clifton Park knows how proud we are of being a Tree City USA. So one other thing that we have is, Lori, they're right behind, thank you, Joanne. We have been awarded a Tree City USA flag. So we can proudly display this on one of our flag poles, which are we're going to be doing soon with our raising the flag for Tree City USA. So I want to thank all you ladies for all your help, especially Diana. You've really taken the helm on this and run with it, and I'm very grateful to have your help, and I'm very grateful to have everyone else's help. You've really done a fantastic job. Many members are not here, but they have also done a fantastic job with this committee as well. This has been one of the good things that came out of the pandemic. People wanted to get involved and do something, and what better than to do is get outside and do something with trees. And so this is one of the good things that came out of that. And thank you for your help.
Can I make a comment? None of this would have been possible if it hadn't been for your leadership and your enthusiasm. You are amazing to work with. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's do it. Yes, absolutely. It's not every day we get a flag. All right.
That would be a commentary on COVID.
Yes, it would. Oh,
The one
boy. There we go.
in the white shirt.
There we go. All right, now make sure you can see that sign too.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you again, ladies, and congratulations. Thank you.
Very good, thank you much. We do have a number of resolutions for consideration this evening. Teresa, if you would read through those first.
A resolution adopting local law number 1 of 2022, amending chapter 92 of 3 of the town code pertaining to dog license fees. Whereas the director of animal control has requested an increase in dog licensing fees, and whereas on March 21st, 2022, the town board held a public hearing to receive comments regarding the proposal to amend the dog license fees. And whereas the fee schedule for dog licenses is contained in chapter 92(3) of the town code, and whereas the town board wishes to amend chapter 92(3) of the town code to establish a fee of $5 for a spayed or neutered dog plus a state $1 surcharge. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board adopts local law number 1 of 2022, a local law amending chapter 92(3) of the town code as amended, and be it further resolved that the town clerk's office is directed to publish the notice. I think we also talked about, excuse me to interrupt in the middle of this, but we talked about implementing this on May 1st because of our programming on how to pay for it and when it gets paid for. So May 1st is when we will implement this and start that.
So do you want to
Yeah, let's,
amend the resolution
Can
to
we
say
add it?
effective May 1?
yes. correct, Terry?
Right.
I'll move we amend the resolution.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Sorry. How's that going? A resolution, that was for the amendment, correct?
Yeah.
A resolution to classify a potential legislative action to amend the zoning code through an amendment to the Plan Development District Number 37, Eagle Crest Plantation, and to issue a negative declaration regarding the potential action. Whereas an application has been presented to the town board for an amendment to the existing Plan Development District legislation for Eagle Crest Recreation Golf and Sports Complex to provide for a year-round indoor-outdoor sports facility with a synthetic turf indoor field within a tension fabric structure, an outdoor illuminated synthetic turf field, and a turf practice field. And whereas the applicant has prepared and submitted a long-form environmental assessment form for the review of the proposed legislation. And whereas the town planning staff has reviewed the proposal pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act and have prepared parts 2 and 3 of the EAF recommending the town board classify the proposed legislative action as a type 1 action, consistent with New York State Code RR 617.4, and have prepared a draft determination of non-significance for the project. And whereas the planning director, John Scavo, recommends the issuance of a negative declaration for the board's determination of significance relative to the requested legislative amendment to the zoning district. And whereas the town board has reviewed the environmental assessment forms and draft determination of non-significance attached prepared by planning staff. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board as lead agency accepts the recommendation of the town's planning staff and hereby determines that the adoption of the proposed local law would constitute a type 1 action pursuant to seeker if adopted, and would have a negative impact on the environment, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. A resolution adopting local law number 2 of 2022 to amend the Plan Development District number 34, Eagle Crest Plantation, previously established for the purposes by amending local law number 8 of 1993 of the town code entitled Local Law Relating to Zoning for the Town of Clifton Park. Whereas an application has been presented to the town board for a change in the zoning code to amend an existing Plan Development District encompassing the existing Eagle Crest Plantation complex, providing for year-round indoor-outdoor sports facilities within the portion of the complex known as Players Park. And whereas on December 21st, 2021, the planning board provided an advisory opinion containing detailed opinions, comments, and concerns relating to the proposal, but without a formal recommendation to approve or deny the application for amendments to the zoning legislation. And whereas on December 17th, 2021, the Saratoga County Planning Board issued a review letter under Section 239M of the New York State General Municipal Law recommending the approval of the zoning change with recommendations. And whereas the town board conducted a public hearing on the proposed legislation on February 14th, 2022 to receive comment for and against the proposal. And whereas the town board has reviewed the proposed zoning amendment pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act and has issued a negative declaration pursuant to the act, and has now completed all procedural actions necessary to bring the proposal to a vote before the town board. And whereas that after due consideration of the petitioner's application and project details, now therefore be it resolved that local law number 2 of 2022, a local law amending A 217-786 of the town code to provide for the construction of an indoor-outdoor sports facility and indoor turf field as written in the attached amendment is hereby adopted, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is to file said notice with the Department of State as required by law. A resolution authorizing the hiring of Donald C. Milos and Scott K. Westfall as part-time security officers. Whereas vacancies exist for part-time security officers, and whereas Donald C. Milos, 60 Brookside Meadows Road, Boston Lake, and Scott K. Westfall, 3 Yorkshire Terrace, Clifton Park, have successfully passed the civil service exam, and whereas Louis Pasquale, Director of Safety and Security, has recommended that Donald Milos and Scott Westfall be hired to fill the positions of part-time security officers. Now therefore be it resolved that Donald C. Milos and Scott K. Westwell be appointed as part-time security officers at grade 5, step 1, to be paid $24.20 an hour according to the most recent collective bargaining agreement from General Fund Security Part-Time Security Officer, effective immediately. A resolution establishing the position of Recreation Leader with the Office of Parks and Recreation Department. Whereas the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs has identified a need for additional staff to assist in more efficient operations of the Parks and Recreation Department. And whereas the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs has recommended that the position of Recreation Leader be established in Clifton Park, and has asked for authorization to begin a hiring process to fill the position through a canvass of the existing civil service certification list to conduct interviews for the Recreation Leader position. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby establishes the position of Recreation Leader as a grade 4, step 1, to be paid $21.94 an hour as a half-time position per the part-time and half-time matrix and pursuant to the attached job description. And be it further resolved that the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs is authorized to begin interviewing candidates on the list for this position to work up to 25 hours per week and will be eligible for benefits as a half-time employee. And be it further resolved that the funds will come from unreserved fund balance and will be transferred upon hire dates. A resolution authorizing the hiring of Larry Warwick as an Adventure Challenge Facility Coordinator for the 2022 summer season. Whereas Mila Kramer, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs, has requested authorization to retain staff to conduct the Adventure Challenge course for 2022. And whereas Ms. Kramer has recommended that Larry Warwick, 24 Fieldstone Drive, Boston Lake, be hired as an Adventure Challenge Facility Coordinator for the 2022 Adventure Challenge program. Now therefore be it resolved that Larry Warwick, 24 Fieldstone Drive, Boston Lake, be appointed as Facility Coordinator effective March 22nd through October 31st, 2022, and to be paid a total amount not to exceed $5,000 for the season, $147.05 a week, from Parks and Recreation Project Adventure Coordinator. A resolution appointing members to the Emergency Services Advisory Board, the ESAB. Whereas due to the resignation of Dwayne Lindsay, an opening exists for a member representing the Bishop Ferry Fire Department to the ESAB. And whereas vacancies also exist for alternates to the ESAB representing the Ballston Lake Fire Department and the Rexford Fire Department. And whereas Supervisor Barrett has recommended that James Grant Keeler, as shown on Schedule A, be appointed for the remainder of Dwayne Lindsay's 3-year term to expire December 31st, 2022. And whereas Supervisor Barrett has recommended that Frederick Ross, Nancy Ross, and Aaron Cote, listed on Schedule A, be appointed as alternates on the ESAB on behalf of the Ballston Lake Fire Department and the Rexford Fire Department, respectively. Now therefore be it resolved that James Grant Keeler, Frederick Ross, Nancy Ross, and Aaron Cote be appointed to the Emergency Services Advisory Board as indicated on the attached Schedule A. A resolution scheduling a public hearing on a proposal to amend the Town Code Chapter 171 4G15A regarding political signs. Whereas the supervisor has requested that amendments be made to Chapter 171 4G15A to Town Code regarding the time frame for the placement of political signs prior to primary elections. And whereas the residents of Clifton Park overwhelmingly support reasonable limitations on the length of time that candidates and political parties may place political signs out in advance of primary and general elections for federal, state, and local elective offices. And whereas the town's local codes regarding political signs contained in Chapter 171 of the Town Code has long provided a 30-day limitation for the placement of such signs prior to a general or special election and/or referendum. And whereas the New York State Legislature has adjusted the primary election calendar in New York and has moved the primary election from September to June. And whereas the town board wishes to schedule a public hearing to solicit views and input from the community on a proposal to adjust the 30-day limitation accordingly. Now therefore be it resolved that a public hearing will be held on April 11th, 2022 at 7:05 p.m. on a proposal to amend the code to include primary election signage per the attached draft legislation, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is directed to publish appropriate notice of same. A resolution authorizing the implementation and funding for, in the first instance, 100% of the federal aid and state Monticelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore. Whereas a project for the New York State 146-146A bicycle and pedestrian access improvements within the town of Clifton Park, Saratoga County, PIN 1085.48, the project is eligible for funding under Title 23 U.S. Code as amended. That calls for the apportionment of the cost such programs to be borne at the ratio of 80% federal funds and 20% non-federal funds. And whereas the town of Clifton Park desires to advance the project by making a commitment of 100% of the non-federal share of the cost of design. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Clifton Park Town Board duly convened does hereby resolve that the town board hereby approves the above subject project, and it is hereby further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the comptroller to pay in the first instance 100% of the federal and non-federal shares of the cost of design work for the project or portions thereof, and it is further resolved that the sum of $182,000 is hereby appropriated from H62 Capital Project New York State 146-146A improvements budget line and made available to cover the cost of participation in the design phase of the project. And be it further resolved that in the event that the full federal and non-federal share costs of the project exceeds the amount appropriated above, the town board shall convene as soon as possible to appropriate such excess amount immediately upon the notification by the New York State Department of Transportation thereof. And it is further resolved that the town supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute all necessary agreements, certifications, or reimbursement requests for federal aid and or Monticelli aid on behalf of the town of Clifton Park with the New York State Department of Transportation in connection with the advancement or approval of the project and providing for the administration of the project and the municipality's first instance funding of the project costs and permanent funding of the local share of federal aid and state aid eligible project costs and all project costs within appropriations therefore that are not so eligible. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be filed with the New York State Commissioner of Transportation by attaching it to any necessary agreement in connection with the project. And it is further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to establish a new capital projects fund, H62 Capital Project, New York State 146-146A improvements. And be it further resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately. A resolution to approve an engineer consulting contract with MJ Engineering and Land Surveying PC for construction inspection services for the Mo Road multi-use path gap closure trail project. Whereas the town has been awarded funding to supplement the Mo Road multi-use path gap closure trail project through the Federal Highway Administration Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program. And whereas by resolution number 100 of 2021, the town board authorized funding the project in the first instance and appropriated $150,122 for design and right-of-way analysis. And whereas by resolution number 209 of 2021, the town board approved just compensation funding for right-of-way acquisitions necessary for the project. And whereas the town board wishes to advance the project by authorizing MJ Engineering to prepare final design and bid documents and to perform construction inspection services for the project. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the attached engineering consulting contract with MJ Engineering in the amount of $120,000, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer an amount not to exceed $120,000 from unassigned fund balance to Mo Road Gap Closure Project Trails Engineering to offset costs associated with the contract in the first instance, pending 80-20% federal local funding reimbursements. A resolution accepting a quote from E-Waste Plus to handle the collection of electronics at the permanent recycling site located at the Clifton Park Transfer Station. Whereas the town has facilitated the recycling of electronics through contracts with E-Waste Plus, formerly known as Regional Computer Recycling and Recovery, RCR&R, since 2015. And whereas the electronics recycling industry continues to evolve consistent with state regulations and incentives. And whereas the town solicited proposals from vendors to renew the contract for the collection of electronics at the permanent recycling site at the Clifton Park Transfer Station to support the efficient recycling of electronic components consistent with state regulations and as a revenue opportunity for the town. And whereas due to reductions in the industries covering the electronic recycling program, direct costs of year-round recycling has increased and the list of available products has decreased. And whereas the town received 2 proposals from available electronics recyclers, and whereas Scott Reese, Stormwater Management Technician, has reviewed the proposals and recommends awarding the contract to E-Waste Plus Victor, New York, as the lowest overall responsible vendor who has submitted a quote of 0.35 cents per pound for the removal of CRT glass monitors, CRT televisions, and rear projection televisions, no charge for transportation, and most electronic items per attached. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to set the price for acceptance of television monitors at the permanent electronics recycling facility based upon actual cost for the town for the contract period March 28, 2022 through March 28, 2023, and be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign a 1-year contract with the option to extend annually upon mutual agreement consistent with the attached proposal and Schedule A from Waste Plus Victor, New York. A resolution increasing the Community Action Fund revenue to include payments from Apparel Impact for the placement of apparel and textile recycling bins at the town transfer station. Whereas resolution number 46 of 2019 established the Community Action Fund Committee to establish a process to support nonprofit community programs and organizations that directly assist people in Clifton Park. And whereas the initial revenue for the Community Action Fund was derived from the collection of bottles and cans donated in support of the program. And whereas resolution number 41 of 2022 authorizing an agreement with Apparel Impact for clothing recycling bins to be placed at the transfer station with the town to be compensated at a rate of 0.05 cents per pound. And whereas the supervisor wishes to direct those funds received from Apparel Impact to the Community Action Fund. Now therefore be it resolved that the comptroller is authorized to record funds received from Apparel Impact to the General Fund Community Action Fund budget line. A resolution increasing the tree committee revenue and expenditures due to receiving $922 awarded from the 2021 Community Action Fund. Whereas $922 in revenue was received from the 2021 Community Action Fund for the tree committee, and whereas the tree committee would like to make expenditures on behalf of the town for Arbor Day and other activities related to the tree committee. Now therefore be it resolved that general fund gifts and donations be increased by $922, the expenditure account of general fund community beautification, general maintenance to be increased by the same $922.
Very good. Thank you, Teresa. Are there any questions on the resolutions? Okay. With that, if you could read the headings, please.
Resolution number 74 of 2022, a resolution adopting local law number 1 of 2022, amending chapter 92(3) of Town Code pertaining to dog license fees.
Okay. I want to thank Terry for bringing that to our attention. And as we stated during the very brief public hearing, price hasn't been raised in quite some time. I don't think the new proposed rate will be a barrier to people following New York state law and registering their dogs as they should. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stander?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 75 of 2022, a resolution to classify a potential legislative action to amend the zoning code through an amendment to Plan Development District number 37, Eagle Crest Plantation, and to issue a negative declaration regarding the potential action.
So
Okay, Tom, we just described briefly why this is part of the process. I know it's something that we need to do as part of the process, but if you could just talk about it a little bit. I don't know if we mentioned it during the public hearing.
I don't believe we did. We didn't. We considered drafting this resolution for consideration at the public hearing time, but we put it off until today. It is a statutory prerequisite for passage of any legislative action. Any action by the board in the zoning and planning realm does require a seeker determination. You have to classify the legislative action according to the regulations, and then you have to act upon that classification with the issuance of a declaration of some type. It bears no necessary, by passing this resolution doesn't indicate one way or another whether the next resolution will pass. The next resolution is the substantive resolution. This is a procedural prerequisite to the next resolution.
Okay, any discussion on that item? All right, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
No.
Councilwoman Standard?
No.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malowit?
No.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 76 of 2022, a resolution adopting local law number 2 of 2022 to amend the planned development district number 34 Eagle Crest Plantation previously established for the premises by amending local law number 8 of 1993 of the town code entitled Local Law Relating to the Zoning of the Town of Clifton Park.
Okay, the resolution provides an overview of the process that we followed. Just in general about the overall situation, since the Sportsplex closed, there is a need for additional soccer facilities in the Clifton Park Half-Moon area. I would say there's no doubt about that. As someone with two boys that played and play in college, and another one coming up, I can tell you that having the facilities close to home is definitely good for the area. I'm not surprised the property owners are considering a reuse of the property based on how things have evolved over the years, and perhaps a reuse of the property would be positive for the town. However, the current proposal under consideration is definitely not appropriate for this location, in my opinion. And I understand the arguments. It's 146A is a busy New York State road. Yes, that is true. But it is generally in that immediate area a residential area with homes in very close proximity to the limits of the proposal. And some of those, the homes that are the closest were part of the PDD many years ago. I know there are different owners of the property now, but it is difficult to overcome that the homes were allowed as part of a larger approval. And now the use of the property under this current proposal would change the use of that particular parcel dramatically. Based on the fact that proposal would create significant impacts, I'll be voting no on the resolution. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I would just add, Supervisor, if I spent a lot of time thinking about this particular resolution. I appreciate all the comments from our residents. I think they've been very helpful getting us to tonight. For me, I just had to go back to our town code. 20871 talks about the purpose of a PDD. It gives us as a board the ability to encourage innovation and development and come up with the most efficient use of land. It has some 5 enumerated objectives, one of which is more usable open space, preserve lands. Another one is a development pattern in harmony with the planning objectives of the town. I don't think this proposal does that. Moving on to 20872, it talks about how the PDD should really take into consideration the surrounding area and specifically the underlining zoning. So this area has CR as a zone. This board, well before my time, but I believe some other members of our board were on the board at the time, went through a lot of public comment period and made the decision to make that the CR zone. This type of proposal would not be acceptable if we were just looking at the CR zone. So therefore, with this PDD being surrounded by that zone, it simply goes against the zoning. It goes against what this board put in years ago as a comprehensive plan. So for those reasons, I'll be voting no.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
No.
Councilwoman Standard?
No.
Councilman Morelli?
No.
Councilwoman Wallowit?
No.
Supervisor Barrett?
No.
Resolution number 77, 2022. Milos and Scott K. Westfall as part-time security officers.
So moved. Second?
Okay, we have two folks here under consideration to add to our security force. Lou, any comment?
We got both gentlemen here this evening. Scott Westfall, he's a full-time police officer out of Manans, and Don Milos, the safety officer out of Allied, out of Albany. Both of them had an interview, they both take the civil service test. I think it'd be great that for our department.
Well, they're both certainly more than qualified. They bring years of experience and different experience between the two positions that they currently hold. We continue to add part-time folks to our security staff. We have, obviously, once we get into the warmer weather, we have a growing need for security with various events around town. And we look forward to working with both of you. So thank you for stepping forward and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowit?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 78 of 2022, a resolution establishing the position of recreation leader within the Office of Parks and Recreation.
So moved. Second?
Okay, very good. Violet, did you want to?
Yes, oh yes, definitely. First, I want to say thank you and that I'm extremely grateful for this new position to be considered tonight. A position in our department was eliminated in 2014 when our senior clerk was promoted to a department head position, and it was left vacant, and we were notified that it wasn't going to be filled. Clerical work from that position was split among staff. We have fantastic staff in the office currently. Diana Frazier is our assistant director and Lori Hughes is our program coordinator. Both extremely hardworking women who put in 100% every day. The extra work, the clerical work that was given out, like to myself included, they were already extremely busy, and it did cause programming to slow down. So some programs were suspended because we didn't have enough staffing. A number of new programs that would normally be led by our program coordinator were tabled. So additionally, in addition to those clerical tasks, kind of at the same time, we're losing Kelsey Clark, who is has been an amazing volunteer. for the town running absolutely fantastic nature programs. She's run Muddy Talks. She does like a parent and me hike, bringing kids outside to all of the different parks and preserves in town, and really exposing these kids to the world around them without electronics. So she's fantastic. Unfortunately, she's going back to teaching in the fall. So her spring programs, which are currently full and waitlisted, and she's opening them up to bring more people in. They're very popular programs, but this spring, this will be the end of her participation. So with the rec leader, we would hope to have that position sort of pick up that piece of the programming, and so we can continue those, and then also build upon those. This new position would be a huge asset to our department, leaving staff of clerical duties and sort of allowing them, all of us, to sort of build back the programs that we have not been able to do, and building the new programs. The rec leader would be supporting Lori in running some programs as well. So I want to, again, thank you for considering this tonight. And if you have any questions, I'm open.
So typically, just to clarify this position and why this is up for consideration tonight, usually at this time of the year, the Parks and Rec Department goes out seeking seasonal help to support the department get through its busiest time. So usually we hire someone full-time, seasonally, usually from April until the end of July, beginning of August. And through the years, that has been a very difficult position to not only fill, but to keep someone employed in that position. It's tough, full-time for only a few months. And there's not a big pool of people who can fill that need for us. So with the shortage that we are seeing, that the nation is seeing with people who are willing to go back to work with an employee shortage, so to speak, we saw that it would be even more difficult to fill that seasonal position this year, and we really were not willing to put our Parks and Rec Department in jeopardy because of the services that we provide. Families are counting on us. So Councilwoman Wallowit and myself as co-liaisons to the Parks and Rec Department spent considerable time with Mila Kramer and her staff to come up with a position that was going to fulfill the need for that department. I think it's going to be a good addition to your department, and I appreciate you finding this title that supports the department and fills those needs that you have. And I do hope that the board will see the need for this position and support it. Thank you.
Well, we have continued to add programming since 14.
Yeah, a lot of the programming that we've added are subcontractors. So the
Yeah.
staff, like, we're not directly running them.
Right.
So for programs like our February break camp, we had, I think there was 1 or 2 years we were able to have a subcontractor run a chess camp. For many years prior to that, staff in our office ran a general February break rec camp. And we haven't been able to do that due to not having enough staff to do that. Programming that we've had, like on the weekends, we've had they build a birdhouse, we've had a teddy bear tea, things like that we had prior to 2014, we haven't been able to hold.
Well, using subcontractors has been a very good structure that we've used for decades.
Yeah, I mean, we continue to bring on new subcontractors
Right.
whenever there's, either there's a need and we seek out a subcontractor, or someone in our community has a skill that they want to share and they come to us with a program, and we'll definitely keep doing that. But those tend to be programs that are during the summer, or they're like seasonal programs. So, for example, our spring basketball that we've had the past, I think, five or 6 years. We have a subcontractor run that, but we don't have a subcontractor to come in to do like a one-day program for, kids in elementary school.
A one-day program. Have you talked to the subcontractor about adding that?
Well, we don't have a subcontractor who will do a teddy bear tea.
Oh, I don't know about teddy bear tea.
Yeah.
We're just talking about
That's
basketball.
the one-day
Basketball, teddy
program.
bear tea. Can we combine the two and have basketball, teddy bear tea?
I don't know, I'd like to see the teddy bears play basketball.
No, I mean, we have a very long, I don't know how many, I don't have them in front of me, but we have a very long list of subcontractors. And it allows us to broaden our bandwidth substantially. We're able to offer a tremendous amount of programs, utilizing people that work hard at delivering that program in a very professional and successful way, because they have a vested interest in it being successful. So we're able to add many, many different types of programs without adding to town staff. So we're maximizing efficiency along the way, which has been very successful. The other thing we've done is invested a great deal in technology to, over the years, to reduce the need for folks to call or stop into the office. Signing up for programs online, more information online, all of that, I think, has been very helpful to the people that sign up, as well as making our staff as efficient as possible. Is the idea to maintain a seasonal position as well as this position?
The seasonal position originally was typically a college student who would come in mid to the end of May and stay through, I think it was like the first week of August. And their main responsibility was answering the phone, being sort of first point of contact with customer service for any of the residents who come in. We are hoping to go back to that seasonal position, which is definitely much easier to hire someone because it's a shorter period of time, and it's really a great position for anyone who's in college. And having that and having a rec leader, we'll be able to go back to a level of service and what we can provide to where we were back in before Chris was promoted.
Well, we've had people of various ages in that position, the seasonal position, over the years.
We have.
So
It
hasn't been just a college
very
age
difficult.
person.
Well, the position that we have now, that we've had the past couple of years, starting in April, we can't get anyone in college because obviously they're still in school. We have had like one or two people who are absolutely amazing, who were they had that time available because they were looking to get back into the workforce, and it was sort of a good stepping stone to then looking for a full-time position. It's also been just very difficult having someone who can handle when it's the 3 full-time staff and then having that one additional person that comes in April, there's a very high expectation of the level of work that they're going to be doing. Because naturally, it's going to be when we're doing camp registration and like the other summer camp program registrations with the pools, with the golf course. There's a lot happening, and having someone who's full-time, not full-time, but year-round, to help with that is going to be a huge benefit. And then when we have someone come in the end of May, they're really just helping residents as they're coming in and fielding phone calls. Our registration system, like last week, we opened up our full day camp registration online. And except for some people who timed out because it was taking them a long time, it was a huge success. I think we had like 91% of our registrations come online, which is fantastic. And I do appreciate the work that Councilwoman Standard and Councilwoman Flood from the IT committee put in, working with our current IT folks to make sure that the program could handle the amount of registrations that came in a very short period of time.
Half day starts tomorrow. Half day registration
Yes.
starts tomorrow.
Half day
So
starts
it's being
tomorrow
put
at
to the
10 o'clock.
test again.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, based on last week, we aren't expecting any issues. And it's very different signing up for full day. You're just, choosing a site, you're paying for one thing. Whereas with full day camp, they had to pay for weeks. So it was choosing weeks. With Jonesville, they're just choosing Jonesville and, paying for the minimum of 5 tickets. It'll be a much quicker transaction as well.
So with the concern about the labor shortage in general, so we're going to try to fill 2 positions instead of 1.
Well, there is a current list for the rec leader position with the county.
Right.
So the first step would be, looking at the folks who are on that. I don't know how extensive it is. The position for May, we're not looking at right now, but it tends to, prior to 2014, we would usually get someone who had worked at one of our camps, who they're getting closer to graduation, and it's work experience that will help them once they graduate. And so we tend to get a seasoned, experienced counselor who usually comes in for that position. Although it's open, it'll be open to anyone who's interested. But the position usually gets filled by a counselor.
The seasonal position?
The one that's like the end of May. The end of May to like the end of July.
Well, we usually had a seasonal person that started in April.
We won't, if this position is approved tonight, we won't need the position that starts in April.
No, you just want to start it in May.
It'll start the end of May.
Yeah. Well, I think, based on all the points I've made and the seasonal position has been held by people with of various ages, with various skills. I haven't seen a deficiency in the quality of work of the seasonal people that we've hired for that position. We're getting to the end of March here. And unfortunately, it doesn't sound like we have anybody in place. As you come into the busier time in the office, the technology is that we've implemented over very long period of time, continually adding to it, I think is increased efficiencies. You know, and if we're going to create new positions, we should do that through the budget process. And we had a budget process several months ago, and that would have been the time to create the position. So, I mean, I could definitely see a position like this and eliminating the seasonal position, but I don't, from what I've seen over 22 plus years, I don't believe creating a new position and maintaining the old position is a good move. And again, if we're going to create positions, that should be done through the budget process. Not a question for you. That's a board decision. So, not directing that to you. So, okay. Any other discussion at this time?
Well, I just wanted to say, like, as an educator, looking at this list of specific job duties, I think it would be amazing to have somebody in our town who is, you know, implementing regularly scheduled nature programs for kids and developing nature programs and having that time to do that. I don't know necessarily that a seasonal person would have the time to do something like that. So I don't know what the old job entailed that you were just talking about, but from a teacher perspective, I think it's important to have somebody who's consistent year round. You know, the kids get used to seeing that kind of person who's running those programs, and little kids need consistency. So as opposed to just seasonal employees that come and go.
And I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you, Councilwoman Flood. I do think the budget process is the time where we should be looking to add, modify, or eliminate employees as a whole, unless something has changed since the budget process. So I think maybe starting off with a seasonal employee and then reevaluating as we move into this year's budget process. I know there have been some changes. Obviously, we're coming out of COVID this year. We have put some more investment into IT. We also have been dealing with some HR issues in this department, so I'd like to see some of these issues kind of get flushed out before we move into permanent half employee being added.
Very good. Anyone else? Okay. Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
No.
Councilwoman Wallowit.
Yes.
Councilman, or Supervisor Barrett.
You? No.
Resolution number 79 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the hiring of Larry Warwick as an Adventure Challenge coordinator for the 2022 summer season.
So moved.
Second?
All right, Larry. Larry is back. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, we're, again, very fortunate to have Larry returning to oversee our adventure course. He does an amazing job. He was there at the start, and he has just really been kind of like the rock and foundation of that program. And it does continue to grow every year. There are some repairs that we need to do this year to kind of get it back on track, but we've actually added some additional weeks in camp because we did have wait lists. But we're glad to have Larry. He knows it inside and out, and he's a huge resource for us.
Yeah, Larry is the one that started it many, many years ago. It's another one of those programs that we've offered for decades that continues to be very popular. If you're not familiar, check it out. All right, any further discussion? Okay,
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowit.
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
yes,
Resolution number 80 of 2022, a resolution appointing members to the Emergency Services Advisory Board.
these are, these members are recommendations from the individual departments, first responder departments that comprise the Emergency Services Advisory Board. So I thank them all for stepping forward and for the departments putting their names forward. We spoke recently about the significant loss our community experienced recently with the passing of Al Atwell, who was the chairman of the Emergency Services Advisory Board. Paul Van Skyke, who's been the vice chair for some time, has volunteered to step forward and fill Al's very large shoes. So we thank him and all of these representatives for their volunteerism on behalf of the town. Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 81 of 2022, a resolution scheduling a public hearing on a proposal to amend the Town Code, Chapter 171, 4G15A regarding political signs.
So moved.
Very good. So this will set a public hearing coming up on April 11th. Anybody that's interested, what we're trying to do here is just match up our code with the calendar that is now changed with the primary election season in New York State. And make sure you're at the public hearing, Mark. Of course. All right, Teresa.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 82 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore.
So moved.
Second.
Very good. So this moves forward another very significant trail and sidewalk program in the town of Clifton Park. We've had many over the last 20 plus years. Very proud of our accomplishments in the area of preservation of open space and trails. And I know that's one reason why a lot of folks move here and just one reason why we experience continued rise in our real estate market. So this would move this forward. John Scavo is not here this evening, but I don't think we need any further description of what we're trying to accomplish here. It's one of many resolutions that are necessary when we accept grant funding for these projects. Okay, discussion. Yeah, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 83 of 2022, a resolution to approve an engineering consulting contract with MJ Engineering and Land Surveying PC for construction inspection services for the Mill Road multi-use path gap closure trail project.
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Another trail project that we're moving forward to do another step. Discussion. Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloy? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 84, 2022, a resolution accepting a quote from E-Waste Plus to handle the collection of electronics at the permanent recycling site located at the Clifton Park Transfer Station.
So moved.
Second.
Well, we're one of not a lot of places that'll take electronics recycling anymore, but even though the market has changed quite a bit, we'll continue to take it. You don't need a transfer station permit to recycle your electronics. There are some continued changes in the market. When we first started this program many years ago, we actually were making money. People would drop off their electronics and the company would pay us to take the stuff away. I think one year we were up to about $10,000. The bottom dropped out very quickly after maybe 2 or 3 years. Market changed drastically, and unfortunately, the value in the electronics recycling market disappeared, and we've experienced a sharp shift. Now, since that time, we've there's an expenditure to get rid of the electronics that are dropped off. But we want to continue to offer that service close to home, so you can do that at the transfer station at any time. Any further discussion? Okay, Lisa.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandra?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 85, 2022, a resolution increasing the Community Action Fund revenue to include payments from the Apparel impact for the placement of apparel and textile recycling bins at the town transfer station.
I spoke about this briefly at the beginning of the meeting. We're able to partner with Apparel Impact, so all those items that I mentioned before, clothing, sheets, towels, footwear is a big one. We all have multiple pairs of shoes. We go through them, and for years they've ended up in a landfill. Well, now you can recycle them, and they're actually worth something to somebody, which in turn makes it valuable to the town. And again, we have no idea how much money we might raise from this partnership, but even if it's a few $1,000s, we can direct that money into our community action fund, add to your very generous donations of bottles and cans that you're donating. No taxpayer money is used for those 40,000 plus in grants that we've given out. It's strictly bottles and cans. So this would be a nice addition to that funding source. So that is the reason for bringing that forward tonight. Any discussion? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandra?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 86 of 2022, a resolution increasing the tree committee revenue and expenditures due to receiving $922 awarded from the 2021 Community Action Fund.
Second.
Okay, so speaking of the Community Action Fund, so this is a budget addition to accept this revenue. Discussion.
I just wanted to mention some of the things that the tree committee has, after they were awarded this $922 from the Community Action Fund, the committee convened and determined that they wanted to spend some of this money on a tree sapling ceremonial planting, a new banner for our tree committee for promotional purposes so that we can get more members involved. Also some educational books to provide for the committee, but also to share with the community. We're looking into an honorarium for a speaker for Arbor Week and hopefully some refreshments. So we're looking forward to celebrating Arbor Week, and we appreciate the Community Action Fund donations that was made so that we could do some of these activities.
Good. Very good. Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandra?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, any other business to come before the board this evening? Okay, we'll go to public privilege. If you'd like to speak on a town matter, please raise your hand. We'll ask that you come forward, state your name and address for the record, and please keep it to 5 minutes or less. Anybody that would like to speak? Mark,
Yes.
you didn't find something else, did you?
No. Good evening, sorry.
How you doing?
Well, I just wanted to make a quick comment. I brought attention to the law regarding the political signs.
Excuse me, can you state your name and your address?
Oh, yes, of course. Okay, my name is Mark Brockbank, and I live at 74 Stony Creek Drive, off of Crescent Road. I brought attention to a local town code last week before the town board regarding the political lawn signs, and I was happy to see it on the agenda this week, and so I felt compelled to attend tonight's meeting. I am happy that it was so quickly put on the agenda. It was only a week. So I look forward to attending the town hearing regarding that law, and thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Mark. We appreciate you pointing that out. Thank you. Anybody? Yes, I just see a hand in the back there. can't tell who it is.
You know
Oh,
who it is.
geez, wow. Geez, I should have known. Frank. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing fine, guys.
That's good.
Happy to play with God's pocket tonight.
All right, well, I'm sorry you Buckeyes,
Well, we lost. Yeah, well, next year.
Providence is still in it, though.
You know.
We'll carry the banner.
I'll root for them. You know, I sit here some of the meetings
We all
and,
know you, but
Frank
some people may
Berlin,
not.
980 Main Street, Jonesville. You know, some of you younger people weren't here. We got started in the 90s. But we have spent so much time in trying to come up with a sensible plan for our town. And I remember Sandy Roth sitting here, and we looked at the map of the eastern part of town. And if you look at the aerial map, it's like spaghetti, you know? I mean, we're all part of this. I live here too. And we looked and we said, and I think that Sandy was part of this in a way, is this what we envisioned for the other half of our town? And so we had charrettes and meetings about the eastern part of town, about how that would be. And we set it up for the things we thought would get in there. And we set up the western part of town, you know? We had meetings, some of us in our group, we invited the builders to come. I think I'll mention their name. DCG builders came and they were very cooperative. We heard their point of view and they heard our point of view. Another builder came, they built that big bank and trail around there on, what's the name of that guy? They built, Rose? Is it Rosenthal or something like that? Yeah, I think it's Rosen. Anyhow, we met with them, and so we tried to meet with people, you know, because I have a car, I have a house, and I think we have a sensible plan. And I think the town, thank you for recognizing that, because there's places that people can build their things, and we're not trying to push people out. I tell you, in Jonesville, you know, we got to look at our zoning. You can put in a bowling alley there and a rooming house, you know. I mean, it's the zoning said you could put it in there. You know, and I have a piece of property. I'm with you guys in a way. You have American right to do that, but we also have our rights to how we want our town to be developed in a smart growth plan. People want to come here because it's a great place, guys. We all know that. So it's a great place because we have shopping centers, we have parking lots, and we have streams, we have trout, we have parks, we have paths, bicycle areas. So it's a healthy place. And so not here to rub anybody's nose or anything, but please look at the rules or we set up or the regulations as a town for everybody, not just for a few people that, you know, maybe think they got a good deal going or something. I don't know what that is, but I don't even want to go there. But I think it's really a feather in everybody's cap, even though I'm glad you voted the way you did. So thank you very much, and everybody here. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's hard to believe now, but going back to, you know, 2000, 2001, 2002, you know, the whole idea of starting an open space committee and starting an open space planning process, which we did, that wasn't popular with everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. I remember the first meetings held where we were talking about that idea, and it was far from 100% approval. But I think over time, you know, building credibility through the program, stating goals and executing what you said you were going to do and how you were going to do it, did continuously bring new people on board that said, you know, this program has value for the town. Same with trails. And it's been great to see that over the last 23 years really evolve. The Western GEIS that Frank mentions, that was back in 05, 06 in that area. Again, that was I think a groundbreaking study, no pun intended, for the town that established new rules and regulations. I think it was something that we were in a position that was important. We did that at the time, and I think it's paid great dividends for the town ever since. So very proud to be to lead that effort at that time. At that time, we did an 18-month moratorium on building in the western part of town as we conducted that study. So if anybody would like any light reading tonight, Western GEIS, it's a great read and better than any novel on your bookstand. I assure you of that. Because it can actually affect you. The novel on your bookstand, that's fiction. Yes, sir, come on up.
I just wanted to take this public one. I'm Bob Lavelle. I'm at 1032 146A. I just wanted to thank the board for maintaining the comprehensive plan. And so I want to thank you in particular for 22 years, keeping the town the way it is. I understand it had to be a difficult decision. Once again, I just wanted to thank you. And I also want to thank all my neighbors who were in support of maintaining the comprehensive plan and supported me. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob. There's no doubt in any town with any particular subject that comes up, there's always competing interests. And if somebody owns a piece of property, they have every right to ask, propose, apply for something, whatever that might be. So they do have that right as landowners. But as Frank mentioned, it goes back to zoning. And in this case, it would require a amendment to the PDD, which is somewhat of a subjective process. I know some of you, I've talked to many people. Some of you are here tonight over the last few weeks, and you asked about, well, how come they're not doing this study, right down. And that would have all been part of a very comprehensive planning process if the application made it that far. It didn't. It stopped tonight. But right now, it's a question of zoning, and it is somewhat subjective. There's no doubt about that. Planning, less so. Planning is less subjective because once it gets to planning, the zoning question has been decided. So then it's down to the nitty-gritty details and passing all the regulations, whether they be town, state, and otherwise, passing all the regulations regarding environmental and stormwater and traffic and every other element of a project that would eventually be approved by the planning board. Yes, ma'am? Yes, hi.
My name is Jackie Calise. I live at 1021 Boston Lake Road. My husband Jimmy couldn't be here tonight. He had some surgery, but I'm speaking on behalf of both of us and the Calise family, who are all over the United States right now, have already heard the vote. I want to thank the board members and Supervisor Barrett for voting and seeing that the risks outweighed the benefits and that there was some serious harm that could have come to people's homes in our little corner of Clifton Park. I never realized how extremely important a vote could be in the hands of board members, where it could really impact permanently the livability of your home. Again, as I've said before many times, your life's work and your life savings. So thank you very much for protecting us, because it really comes down to that. You have to think and plan for the worst when it could happen, and it already has happened to some folks who are still dealing with it from previous years. So I'm very grateful. I also want to thank the staff here in the town of Clifton Park, the town offices, specifically Teresa Brobston. You were very kind to us when we had questions. We didn't know a lot or where to go. When we wanted to come and look at documents, we felt very welcome and appreciate it, because sometimes you come into a business or a doctor's office, the people there can make or break your experience. So I thank you very much. I want to thank each and every board member for calling me back, for Phil Barrett for calling us back, and taking time to hear us, because we're going at a fast pace, 90 miles an hour today. We're expected to function and process information like computers. And sometimes those serious, deep matters come across your desk, and I appreciate the time that you took to read and really look into matters. So thank you, and I hope they find a great place for the Sportsplex. It's certainly not the best for kids, but thank you for recognizing this would be very bad here. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, watch yourself.
Almost a yeah, sorry. Hi, Adrian Hahn. I live at 777, 37, White Road. It's been a long day. I'd like to just reiterate the previous sentiments, and I actually wanted to say congratulations to being the town tree city. And I actually wanted to bring something to the town's attention about that matter specifically. Kingswood Park is a favorite to a lot of us around the area, and I don't know if the town's aware, but it looks like an invasive aphiid species has been found in Kingswood Park in the past week. I had to bring this up. It's the hemlock woolly adelaide, known as the HWA, which has been south of Saratoga County, but it looks like it might have creeped up to our area. And it is invasive, so just to bring it to the town's attention.
Sure.
And again, a great designation, a lot of hard work for that. Quick shout out to the REX program. I used to work at the Jonesville Day Camp in high school, so I love all the programs that we have. And also thank you for the supervisor. It was great to see you at the first robotics competition at the MVP
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So it was great to be out back in the public. So thank you again for your time and effort to the Eagle Crest Amendment too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak tonight? Okay. Well, oh, Darlene, come on up.
I didn't want to be first.
You want a back clean up?
Darlene McGraw, I like having to not tell my name for once in a while, because too many people know who I am. I live at 4 North Point in the town of Half Moon. I wish I didn't have to say that. I wish I could say Clifton Park, even though that's my zip code. I wanted to let the town be aware, I am willing to try to help the town board do a bike safety program, because there's been a recent influx of, with springs here, there's a recent influx of vehicles that have been approaching me, yelling at me. One driver just the other day, I think it was Friday or Saturday, one of these past days, he almost stopped his car and yelled at me through his window, and I'm crossing Boulevard and Centerly Road right before the light, and said, "I'm gonna call the cops if you don't get on the sidewalk." First of all, what sidewalk are you talking about, number one? And number two, I mean, I'm not gonna encourage him to do so, but go ahead, call the cops. You're gonna be the one getting a ticket for using your phone while you're driving in the first place.
Where were you when you?
I was on the road just the way I was supposed to. I was making a left on Centerly Road. I'm not taking that bridge. I was gonna go around Boone's Road.
So he was in the lane behind you?
He was in front of me, but he was cursing at me from.
Oh, jeez.
And he stopped in
I
front
guess
of me.
he felt very strongly about it. In front of you, and he's cursing behind.
Yeah, he stopped and all that. I mean, I was safely at a good distance behind. But with that being said, I also wanted to ask, April is Autism Awareness Month, and autism is a group of neurological and developmental disorders that impact folks, that can disrupt social relationships and communication disorders, and that's coming from New York State Department of Health website. And it can often lead to lifelong disability, but autism can also mean for adults that they have, sorry, I'm having trouble speaking.
No, it's all right. Take your time.
I'm gonna skip that part, sorry. One in 68 children in the US have autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder, obviously, if it happens in kids, it also continues on to adulthood. As a person with an autism spectrum disorder, I like to help out the community the best I can, and I also like to teach others what autism spectrum disorder is. I am asking the town that they light up a light in front of the town blue for at least a day or two in April to let others know that that is Autism Spectrum Disorder Month.
We can do that. We can do that,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I also am asking that you guys consider more affordable housing options, as for those of us with autism spectrum disorder and others also struggle to find affordable housing that want to continue to live on our own and be independent. Affordable housing is very difficult to find, and it is even more difficult to find when there's a lack of bus and transportation. But I really love to live down here in Clifton Park, Half Moon area.
Mhm.
I moved from Saratoga Springs down here, even though I knew that there was lack of transportation options. But I moved down here because I love the green area, yet that I love to find all my medical providers around here, my doctors. I love to know that there's shopping places around here, all this in one small area, or a big area actually. But it's all in one area that I can get to. So that is just what I'm speaking, and congratulations on the tree. And maybe you want to help teach me how to tap a maple tree. I've always wanted to learn how to do that.
I saw somebody doing that the other day. I guess
tap a maple tree.
I guess if you find the right tree, and you know what you're doing. Anyone else? Okay.
Motion to adjourn? Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stander?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, let me ask you a question. You're involved with,